Well, hello there, and welcome to my little shop. Are you visiting New Homestead for the first time? Oh, nice. It's always such a pleasure to meet people from other worlds. Or just space. I don't judge. I'm Jay. I'm happy to help you find what you're looking to buy or take a look at whatever you want to sell. Trades of all kinds are welcome here. Or if you have any questions for me about the shop, the merchandise, or even just New Homestead in general, I'm happy to help you. We used to, but not anymore. Believe it or not, the New Homestead Tourism Board decided a while back to do away with souvenirs. We don't really have the resources or facilities to make them here ourselves, and it was decided that anything less than that would seem exploitive of our people and inauthentic. Only thing we have are these souvenir slates about the history of New Homestead. Tell you what, I've got an extra one here that another guest left behind a while back. You can have it. I love them. Most of us in New Homestead appreciate what tourism does for our economic livelihood, so we go out of our way to make guests feel welcome. Some are indifferent about it, while a few others, I won't name names, are downright resentful of all the tourists and would prefer to be left alone. But that being said, I believe our generally friendly demeanor is a large part of what drives people to keep coming back. Glad you asked. I'm looking for all sorts of things. Anything, really. Clothing, weapons, jewelry, even stuff they consider junk. You name it. We don't get a lot of off-world stock, so I offer to buy things from travelers. Anything they're willing to part with. Between you and me, people around here talk a lot about tradition and whatnot, but even they get curious about what other worlds have to offer.
We get a lot of tourists out this way, but most of them aren't so bold as to strike up conversations with us. What's your deal? Sorry, usually when the tourists say that, it means they want something. Free local produce, a picture, or something else I don't intend to give. So what can I do for you? Well, for one, it's my wife Mara's farm. I just had the good fortune of marrying into it. It's been in her family for generations. We're the best source of fresh produce in the colony. Not like that processed junk we get from off-world, and certainly nothing like that eyesore chunks. Mind yourself out there. We get a lot of tourists out this way, but most of them aren't so bold as to strike up conversations with us. What's your deal? Sorry, usually when the tourists say that, it means they want something. Free local produce, a picture, or something else I don't intend to give. So what can I do for you? Well, for one, it's my wife Mara's farm. I just had the good fortune of marrying into it. It's been in her family for generations. We're the best source of fresh produce in the colony. Not like that processed junk we get from off-world, and certainly nothing like that eyesore chunks. From what I know about farming elsewhere, it's largely the same. Big difference is that we need to import or make our own soil. And we need to be extra careful with our temperature control. Titan's surface is frozen, and it's not much better just below it with the ice caves. Then it's just a matter of artificial sunlight and supplying CO2 for the crops. It's not too challenging. No worries. You have yourself a day now.
Ah, someone new. Are you a tourist, or have you just moved to New Homestead? Well, there's lots to learn. You can always feel free to try one of the historical tours, or ask the locals about life here. I'm fascinated by the other worlds in the settled systems. Do you mind if I ask you a question? Oh, wonderful. What's New Atlantis like? Oh my, that sounds incredible. Ever since I overheard one of the tourists speaking about it, I've always wanted to go. We hear about it, of course, but we rarely get much exposure to other worlds beyond the people who come from them to visit our little colony. I wonder if I can convince Nathaniel to go on a trip there with me and our daughter. Do you mind if I ask you another question? Thanks. I promise not to take too much of your time. Is the Freestar Collective as lawless as I've heard? I figured the stories weren't all true. How else would you expect people to live together if you can't trust in laws to keep everyone safe? Even in a small community like ours, we have to maintain law and order. Though, I understand it gets difficult to always protect that out in the vastness of space. I imagine it's the same in the Freestar Collective. Is it okay if I change the subject? Oh, thank you. Are there really planets full of plants, fresh air, and water? I've read about them. It seems incredible, doesn't it? I've only ever known Titan, and it's always so cold and drab. I've always dreamed of visiting one to breathe the air, feel the warmth of its sun, but my husband is reluctant to leave our home. Can I ask you something else? Oh, thank you. Is space travel as exciting as it seems? I've heard stories about pirates and spaceship malfunctions and all sorts of terrible things. I've always wanted to try going into space, but I'm also worried about all those dangers. Maybe people here are right. The dangers here are few, and we know how to take care of them. Space is too unknown. Those are all the questions I have at the moment. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day for me.
I'll treat you if you need it, but please try to be more careful around here. I don't. They make a mockery of New Homestead culture. And on top of it, they're reckless. It's like I said before, I feel like I'm treating them more often than our own people. Actually, maybe there is. I have an idea that may be best suited for someone relatively unknown, instead of myself. I've got a mountain of work and a reputation to maintain. So I bought a realistic monster costume. The plan was to wear it, scare tourists away, and start a rumor about terrible creatures living on Titan. I figure that once word gets around, tourism will take enough of a dive to give me some relief. Oh, good. I was hoping not to have to do it myself, so I'm glad to have a volunteer. Here's the costume. I think this will work best on the surface, so just find a group and run up to them, acting like a convincing alien monster. With any luck, they'll run screaming and book the next flight out of here.
Welcome, I'm Anya. Is this your first time with us at the Brown Horse Tavern? Oh, well, thank you for joining us. You're in for a real treat. We've got an assortment of food and drinks, some of which follow homemade recipes that have been passed down over hundreds of years. So, what can I do for you? You mean the Brown Horse? Well, it's only the longest continuous running restaurant since humans started settling outside of Earth. There's a lot of history within these walls, and some damn fine food and drink, if I say so myself. This place has been in my family for generations. My however many great-grandmother opened it when the first colony started on Titan. Back then, it was a simple mess hall that she chose to put a little extra love and flavor into. And now, it's the pride of New Homestead. Oh, hardly. The locals pretty much stay away from chunks, so whenever they don't feel like cooking themselves and want a fresh meal, they come to me. Only the tourists eat that junk. But don't tell that to my husband. He manages the chunks. I love him, but he's a bit of a fanatic about it.
Another tourist come to learn about the ice mines, huh? It's dangerous in the ice mines. I'd much rather answer your questions than have you going off to explore on your own. I'm surprised I still get this question. It's slippery, it's sharp, it can break, it can cave in. Those are just the obvious examples. Titan is also full of methane, which can sometimes be trapped under the ice. As you know, methane can explode under the right conditions. It can also asphyxiate you if you breathe in too much of it. Ah, so you can relate. It's good to talk with someone who understands the challenges of the job. Not everyone does. If I might ask, what do you mind? Ah, I see. I can respect that. We used to do more traditional mining like that here, but it made much more sense to do it off-world, since it takes a lot more effort for less gain. We mostly export methane and other natural gases instead. Anyway, I'm sure we could swap mining stories all day, but I really should be getting back to what I was doing soon. For drinking water, and we use some of it to produce this air you're breathing. We recycle a lot of what we use, but we still need a nice, steady supply of fresh water. Lucky for us, Titan provides. For one, New Homestead is not a wealthy colony, but we also pride ourselves on doing things the old ways. It's part of the living history, they say. We don't mind. We work hard here, and it's very rewarding.
Careful not to damage the equipment with the cutter while you're working. We don't need any more problems. Good work. I should be able to take it from here. Thank you. I hope it wasn't too much of a pain in the butt.
Hello? I'm not really supposed to talk with tourists, but I kinda want to anyway. And I don't think my papa is paying attention. You're not going to tell him, are you? Oh, thank you! I promise it'll be fun. I like talking to tourists. I get to learn so much about everywhere else, and they get to learn about here. Now what should we talk about? Not really. There's some, though. Most are around my age. We all go to school in the same room. I don't know. I've never been to any other schools. We mostly learn about the history of the Sol system and Earth and stuff like that, until we get old enough to go on our learning vacation. That's when we get to leave to go to school somewhere else for a few years, or travel and visit other worlds, try out jobs and stuff. Oh, I can't wait. My mama says it's because he thinks we'd up and leave if we found out about the rest of the worlds out there. But I keep telling him, I love it here, and I love him, and I would never leave him. He doesn't believe it. He says the kids almost always want to leave when they grow up. But not me. Nope. I just want to visit somewhere else. Maybe. I think it's pretty fun. And I get to be around my mama and my papa all day, so that's cool. They say we all have to work a little, 'cause it takes all of us to make the community work. Just like on Earth a really, really, really long time ago. Someday, I think it'd be cool to see other places and do other things, but this is fine for now.
Did you scare off those tourists yet? See, sometimes silly ideas are worth the effort. Thanks for indulging me with my weird ideas. Tell you what, if you want to come back later and do this for me a couple more times, I'll even let you keep the costume. Do you need medical assistance? Even though we don't have shiny new medical facilities, I imagine it's easier than wherever you're from. We have fewer people here, and we're very responsible when it comes to our personal health and welfare. So there's not much I can't handle. For anything else, we can get access to off-world specialists. Contrary to popular belief, we're not primitive. It's a harsh world, but as long as you're inside or wear a suit when going out, you'll be fine here. There's no breathable air on the surface, and you'll quickly freeze to death outside without protective gear, but otherwise the hazards are minimal. New Homestead was an early colony research base and has stood the test of time. It's safe, and it's proof that people can live pretty much anywhere. Don't worry so much. I bought it from a private seller. They said they got it from someone who wore it in a secondary school as their sports team mascot. I guess it was supposed to be a tardigrade or something. Anyway, the person I bought it from modified it a bit so they could use it in an independent movie they were making. But I guess that went nowhere, so they had to sell it. Lucky me, I suppose.
Oh, did you find the book Dragon Star Force Volume 1, The Heroes of the Dragon Star? Nice. Can't tell you how long I've been waiting to add this to my collection. Thanks again. I hope this makes it all worth it to you.
Hey, good to see you again. Still think there might be room for me on your crew? Okay, I'm game. I could use a break from the Sol system.
Since you helped us out with the equipment and all, I was wondering if I could talk to you. We'll get to that. Will you listen to what I have to say first? It's probably not, but I can't afford to go get it looked at. No idea. Some sort of lung rot. Maybe from all the Martian dust that kicks up in here. Or it could be something worse. It's not a matter of money. There's more to it than that. Actually, maybe this is wrong. You're a total stranger. Forget I said anything. Thanks, I'll try it, but I really should see an actual doctor. It's clear you want to help. Maybe I can trust you.
That'll tide her over. But she needs more help if we can manage.
See, I'd like to go to Reliant Medical for treatment, but my father, Nathan, is an executive with the Reliant. I came to Sidonia to escape him. Nathan is not a good man. Not to me. And I did something terrible to him, so now he is searching far and wide for me. He has connections with doctors throughout the settled systems. I don't know which ones I can trust, and it won't end well for me if they snitch to him. After my mother died in an accident, he changed. He became obsessed with my protection, but he never listened to what that was doing to me. It got worse and worse. First, it was no traveling in ships without one of his pilots. Then no parties, no drinking, no leaving the house. I obeyed. But he didn't trust me, so he started monitoring everything I did. It became so bad, he once locked me in my room for 2 days after an argument. Can you believe that? A prisoner in my own home. Every day there was yelling, lack of freedom, threats. I had to escape my prison. But even now, I am trapped. It's a risk I have to take. Yes, my condition is getting worse, but there's a chance it will clear up on its own. If my father finds me, well, I know my father and I fear for my safety. That is a definite. It's worse than you think. I didn't just run away from him. I knocked him unconscious, then stole his ship while he was out cold. Trust me, it was warranted at the time. After I ditched it above Aquila, I bounced around the settled systems until I landed here. It's the last place I thought he'd find me. But all that changes if I pop up in the Reliant database. He'll know I'm in Sidonia, and he'll never stop looking for me. Last I heard, he no longer cares for my safety. He only wants revenge. I have little doubt he would throw me in jail for as long as possible. Or worse. Trevor tells me you're skilled in dealing with people. Maybe you could try to reason with my father, or maybe scare him into backing off. But you should know, he has powerful and dangerous friends, so you must be careful. If it works, I'll be free. If not, well, at least he still won't know where to find me. What do you think? He wasn't always the way he is. It wasn't until after my mother died that he changed. Grew angry, dangerous. He was no longer himself. You could try mentioning her by name. Belinda. He misses her greatly. Thinking about her tends to calm him down. It's worth a try. It just so happens there's a conference he goes to on Neon around this time of year. He always stays at Hotel Volai. He won't see visitors he doesn't know, but maybe he'll talk if you tell him you're there on my behalf. It's risky, but maybe he'll listen if he knows you mean him no harm. I've got it. Bring him a bottle of his favorite whiskey, Red Harvest Reserve. Say it's... Say it's a peace offering from me. That whiskey is exceedingly rare. I'm sure it will pique his interest enough to hear what you have to say. Good luck. You can check with Jack at the Broken Spear for the whiskey. He may have some or know where to get it. And thank you so much for trying to help me.
Been serving drinks here for over 40 years. Few places can offer that kind of stability. Only that I didn't care much for them getting disbanded years ago, and well, I don't care much for the rumors they're coming back someday. I am, but you don't look like the type that could afford it. The last person that came through here asking about it was none other than Governor Hurst. Didn't even want to drink it. Said he was buying it to put it on display in his office or something. Seems like a waste, but whatever. He paid up. Now you got my attention. This ought to be good. I do have a soft spot for that girl. Why didn't you say so? I know Rivka's story. Will this really help her? I do believe you, but you realize what kind of a bind this puts me in, right? Tell you what, I'll do this as a favor for Rivka. She's been through a lot. I'll only charge you what I paid for the whiskey years ago. Pay me that, and it's yours. I sure hope you're not pulling my leg about this whole thing, or else I just let all that money slip away. You better do justice for Rivka.
This is Faraday's Budget Tours. I have requests from people on the ship to talk with an actual ship captain. Well, surprise you returned, I hail. Can I ask the first question? I'm still talking with the captain. Cindy will organize everyone into a queue. Are you sure you're up for this? This is a really fun crowd. So helpful. All right, who's up? First question. Is being a ship captain non-stop thrills and excitement, like living in that movie Return of the Interceptor? Oh, I was kind of hoping there would be thrills all over the place. I am sure the captain is really busy and may not have time for all your questions. If you can afford your very own ship, you must be super well off. You single? Oh, dear Lord. Articulate and wealthy. Intriguing. Last question. Space is a lawless mess. If you could make the damn politicians fix one thing about it, what'd it be? You talking taxes? Don't I pay enough taxes? Hey, don't cut that. Thank you, Captain, for the, welcome break. I got a question. Is it true captains have someone in every port? You know, a special someone? For l'amour? Or You don't have to answer that. Really? Oh. That's all. Everyone settle back in your seats. Cut the intercom? You have the patience of a saint. This tour group is very energetic. Here's some credits for giving them such an authentic experience. This is your captain speaking. We're about to head to our next destination. Remember, we'll be in Neon in 5 days, so don't spend all your money yet. Astral Lounge, here I come! Dear Lord.
State your business or stay away. Is that so? Well, I'm Captain Gustavo Valencia of the Ecliptic. This ship is under our control. We're mercenaries. We get paid to solve problems no one else wants to take up. Much like yourself, I imagine. Interesting. We'll talk. Here on board, where I have my crew to back me up. Be aware that if you try anything, we will not hesitate to fire on you. You may come aboard. Better think twice before starting trouble. What exactly do you want here? Yeah, and what do you have to say about it? We're getting paid to deliver it back to its rightful owner, and I don't think that's you.
I swear, it's like I said, that's Jade's ship. I was there when she bought it.
Hey, shut up and let the adults talk. Now, where were we before this interruption? That's possible. But even if what you say is true, it's not my problem. We've got to reclaim it for its owner. Sucks for your friend, but we got our orders. So, unless you've got something else to propose, we'll be taking the ship in. Our employer will handle the pilot. I'm not convinced this is a good idea. I'm thinking, maybe you're right. The client trusts us enough to pay us regardless of whether we bring the ship back or not. We'll get a little less, but maybe it's the right thing to do. I don't know. You know what? Fine. I'll tell our guy the ship's gone. We get paid either way. This ain't worth the trouble. Just be extra careful out there. If my client ever finds out the truth, we may meet again, and I won't be so cordial. You can untie your pilot and let him take the damn ship. I'm done with this headache.
Thanks. I thought that was gonna be it for me. I can't believe you worked out that deal. Jane's gonna be happy to get her ship back. They said they'd been looking for the ship for months, ever since it was reported stolen. I don't know who it belonged to, but they clearly wanted it back bad enough to call them mercs, not Sistef. Must have had some way of tracking it. Followed me from Mars until we were nowhere near Sistef, I guess? Or just my own bad luck. I was just about to write the whole thing off as a loss, but damn, you pulled it off! I guess I'll stay here with these guys until their ship returns, and I'll meet you back at Jane's.
I think that's far enough. Hate to put a hole in the head of Akila's own prodigal son. Least not before we've had a word.
You must be Shaw.
What I am is disappointed. Samco in the flesh, and he's peddling around the frontier with the has-beens of Constellation. Now you got past my crew, who I pay quite handsomely, I might add. Grabbed something from that weird cave, probably whatever's been keeping the Ashta away. So, I'm down one hideout. Now, let's talk about what all that's worth to me. Your lives, your credits. One or the other. Really. Oh, really? Let's hear it. Huh. The Shaw Gang's name in print outside a wanted poster does sound nice. Always good to know someone who can keep their mouth shut. You got past a few rookies, that's all. Sick of trading words with you. Kill them!
Just what are we building here?
I haven't picked up any kind of frequency or signal coming from it.
That doesn't mean much. This thing could be emitting something we can't even detect. As far as we know, we could be building a gigantic bomb that will blow up as soon as we finish it. Or maybe it's some kind of interstellar children's toy.
Why would either of those things give the Discoverer visions and music? It's a message. I'm sure of it.
We just have to hope that finding more of the pieces will give us some clue.
I hear that. Moving forward sometimes means fumbling around in the dark. I think Cora and I can use some downtime, but you let me know if you ever want to team up again. Oh, and since it tends to come up, me and my Rugrat co-pilot work as a team. That's non-negotiable. If I'm coming with, that means Cora's on your ship. Why not? What do you think, Cora?
It's really nice to have more company. New stories, new data.
What? Data? All right, we're in. Let's see what the galaxy throws at us next.
Books. I guess it is. Do you have more books, or can you buy me more books? With real pages, a spine, the whole package. My book allowance is all gone and Dad won't get me more. So, books?
Hey, don't let her con you out of more credits. Her book allowance damn near bankrupted me.
Dad, this is between us. I like books about quantum theory and astrophysics. Or science. Or horses. Did you know that it wasn't until after the Industrial Revolution that horse speed was the maximum civilization speed for centuries? All of society was built upon horses. Imagine what they must have looked like for real. They look smelly, in a good way. Oh, Dad, you've made the best friend ever.
Well, now you done it. Now you can get pestered about books nonstop.
Yeah, a small price to pay for my education. Now the important question. Pizza. Favorite topping? And please don't say cheese. Dad loves boring old cheese. Oh, no, no, no.
Looks like it's cheese pizza from here on out.
This is horrifying. Oh, well. Let me think. I have decided that I will stay. You have the Cora stamp of approval. I, seem to have left my stamp back on Dad's ship. But imagine it there, on your arm. Cora approves.
Welcome to the Trade Authority. If you're here on legitimate business, I would be more than happy to help you. If, however, you are here under false pretense, say, sent by one Miss Tsang of UC Distribution, then I'm afraid you'll find nothing illegitimate here to report to her, and I'd ask that you pass along my request to stop these silly games. So, what'll it be? Perhaps, but I'm quite confident in my business, and I refuse to be intimidated. Please, let me know if I can assist you further. I thought the name made it rather obvious. We are the authority on trade in the settled systems. Whether it's bulk cargo, specialty items, or individual requests, we make sure things get where they need to go. We have shipping lanes across the settled systems and deal with nearly every major corporation and faction there is.
You'll be free to peruse my wares once you deliver the package to me. Ah, excellent. I see you've held up your end of the bargain, so I'll do the same. Salina's hardware is now open for business. I'll unlock the door for you. Feel free to come around and peruse my wares anytime.
You have another story for me? You certainly get around. I'm surprised that branch has any customers left, the number of times it's been held up. But I thought the Rangers had finally managed to get a handle on it. I heard there was a standoff. That true? I hear the robbers are provided free of charge. All part of the service. What happened to the robbers? The Shaw gang? Oh, that's a nice change of pace. The Rangers got one right for once. These things are often messy. Any customers or Galbank staff get hurt? That's really good news. Usually, well, it's a different kind of story. You were there. You were involved in resolving it. Any comment on the Freestar Rangers? Having another high-profile robbery in their own backyard is a bit of a black eye. Huh. That's really good to know. Stories like this always fire up public outrage and appetite. Thanks for the interview. And take this.
Oh, I was hoping we might run into one another again. Your timing is most fortuitous. I'm on the verge of something, but I don't quite have all the information I need. You have no idea how much I appreciate that. Truly. Of course, now that I understand more about what's going on, it seems plain as day. And yet I never would have imagined it before. The tertiary trunks have also liquefied their interiors, but they're not vibrating. I thought perhaps it was some sort of defect, but it's much simpler. They're listening. I don't. Not for sure. It's all a theory, certainly, but it is completely supported by the data and observation, like all good science. It's the best we have to go on right now. It means it is ready to reproduce. I believe this tree is sending vibrations out over massive distances and expecting to detect sympathetic vibrations in return. As of yet, there's been no response. I suspect that will not change, that a response is impossible, and that's very, very bad news. We're continuing to see an increase in the strength and frequency of the vibrations. I don't know how much more significant it'll become. If there's no response, the tree may vibrate itself, and some nearby portion of the city, to destruction. Now, as of yet, there has been no response, and clearly none of the nearby individuals are a correct match. While it can't be ruled out that the intended recipient of these messages was cut down during the city's expansion, there is one other possibility. Over 100 years ago, The United Colonies and the Freestar Collective emerged from the Narian War. As a gesture of peace and goodwill, a near-literal olive branch, one of the trees from New Atlantis, was offered to the leaders of Aquila City. Nice. Short-sighted and ill-advised, in my opinion. Of course, you can't just uproot a native species and plunk it down on some other planet in a totally different environment and expect it to grow. Clearly, no exobotanists were consulted ahead of time. The end result was wholly predictable. The tree died within a few short years. Clever, but no, not necessarily. The tree died, yes, but branches were kept. At least one still exists in the museum there in the city. If I had that branch, I could get DNA samples, and then using various data I've gathered, I could attempt to simulate a response. We could then broadcast that response and hopefully calm down our friend here. But as I say, I need that branch. I knew you would understand. The museum in Aquila City is under the supervision of one Miss Kassler, I'm told. I don't know anything about her, but hopefully she'll be willing to listen to reason and assist our cause. All right, off you go. We don't have any time to waste.
My favorite credit analyst is back. You got Mr. Maliki to pay up, alive no less. Now this is what I was hoping for. My superiors are thrilled, ecstatic. Absolutely. Listen, I'm really feeling this working together, aren't you? So if you want another delinquent, let me know. We'll keep this going. But here is your well-deserved finder's fee. I threw in a little extra for handling it well. So chalk this one up to a very fine but clearly overworked credit checker that accidentally approved a sizable loan, then turned out to be murdering space scum. A real black guy, I know. I'm thinking conversation is not really going to be an option on this one, friend. It's all a matter of scale. Galbank processes umpteen loans a day. Inevitably, mistakes are made, and that's when I get the call. A sort of fiscal circle of life, if you will. Oh, you are really something, you know. Here's all the details, and thanks.
Look who's back. All set with that probationary mission? We can do your debrief and formally welcome you into the Vanguard whenever you're ready. A terror? What? How did you walk away with the terramorph tissue sample running comms repairs? What happened to the settlers? You killed a terramorph on your first mission. If I could be frank for a moment, holy shit. Above and beyond doesn't really begin to describe it now, does it? Earned yourself some serious hazard pay on this one. But, if none of the settlers made it, who's got you delivering this sample? A researcher. Let me see that. Sanan. I know that name. Let me check the database. Huh. A lot of this data's been classified. Here we go. Service record. Wow. That's a lot of commendations. Seems like she served with distinction as co-head of a UC Xenoweapons division. Faced tribunal at the end of the Colony War and was dismissed from duty. Guess that's why I'd heard the name before. If she's former Xeno warfare, though, well, we can at least be sure she knows her aliens. I'm sure she doesn't list it at the top of her resume. But considering her service record and her area of expertise, I'm not seeing a reason to think this request is anything other than genuine. Did your survivor, Hadrian, did she mention why she thinks this sample's so special? She thinks there could be more of these? This has been one of the more surprising debriefs I've ever been a part of. I did actually have another mission lined up for you, supporting UC system defense against the Crimson Fleet. But now I guess you have two options on how to proceed. Head to the UC Vigilance and help out SysDef, or deliver that sample. I'll make sure you've got the proper clearances for either path. Consider these your first official orders. And here, so everyone knows you're working with the Vanguard. Welcome to the Navy, Captain. Vanguard's also got some custom ship modifications. You'll be cleared for access to them next time you're down at the spaceport. Talk to ship services. Now, if there wasn't anything else, I suggest you move out.